All right, you're the host. I'll follow your lead.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm Scott.
And I'm Ben.
It's been a while since Ben and I have done an Outturn preview together.
Yeah, and that's the first time I've introduced myself in your own Kansas accent. But, here we are.
I didn't
Two dudes, two polo shirts, post-election night, which means a whiskey's required, I think.
It's odd. We did have the Outturn should have been yesterday on Tuesday, and then we did postpone it today because of Election Day. Mm-hmm. And then we decided just to move our Outturn preview here on YouTube as well. It's like, why do this 2 days ahead of time? We can do it the night of. These whiskeys are available. There is a link down in the comments already for the ones take you to the page for those that will be tasting tonight.
I like it this way, because normally we do these streams and we'll preview the whiskeys the night before they're released. Mm-hmm. And as you just said, Scott, because we had the election yesterday, we usually do the first Tuesday of every month is the main Outturn release. But we had the election yesterday. Obviously, a lot of people are going to vote and just sort of tune into the craziness. So we decided to push it back a day, and rather than do our stream the night before during election night, which I feel, Scott, it probably would have been just you and me sitting here.
Yeah.
And we decided to do this after the Outturn was released earlier today. So that's cool because we'll taste a lot of whiskeys. I'm looking at this lineup you sent me, so thank you for that, Scott.
It was a very good Outturn. The youngest one we have tonight that we're starting with is a 13-year-old, and everything after that is 17 years old or older.
I feel like the whiskeys are getting older in general. I mean, you've got better finger on the pulse of the whiskey, the day-to-day whiskey selection, but.
And I had a member call in today that I was talking to, and he was shopping the site, or we were talking whiskeys, and we were looking for he was like, fine, I need a deep, rich, and dried fruits that's reasonable. And so I was looking, and I think there's reasonably priced. And he was looking for low, 100s. And I think there's one on the website that's $130. And then there's a plethora right now of a little bit older ones, 15-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 20-year-olds that were all up, towards the $200 mark. And I was like, man, I'm like, sorry, we've just kind of got the older, deep, rich, and dried fruits right now outside of the one that was a little bit younger and a little cheaper.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. Well, anyway, I don't want to give anything away because I've just opened this package you sent me. Like I said, so thank you again. We have 6 whiskeys we'll taste tonight, and these were all released today. So I'm curious to see.
Quick shout out. Let's go down, talk to those or mention those that are tuning in and commenting. It looks like Mamuka is here. Mamuka tunes in quite a bit lately. Borderlander is back. Megan, I'll say Mazone, new member here. She says, just received my first order and finally made it to the live stream. Welcome, Megan.
Oh, yeah, Megan. Welcome.
Yeah. So we do these generally first of the month, the first week of the month, usually on a Monday night. We'll preview the 6. It's the same 6 whiskeys that we present at our live in-person tastings. So we try to do the same 6, a little bit of a preview, a kind of a sneak peek for everybody, so you can go in and kind of get an idea of what's available. Now these are 6. I think there's 8 that are out tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Scuba Summer is here. Haven't seen Scuba Summer for a while. A.B. Scott, the Curious George is back.
Nice. Some familiar faces. So, for context, I think it's a crazy 24 hours. If you're American, regardless, I think if you're happy with the outcome of the election, you probably want a whiskey. If you're not happy, you probably want a whiskey as well. So
right. Everybody wants a whiskey.
I think, and I'm about to have 6. So that says a lot, but let's get into it because I feel like this can be a pretty epic lineup.
All right. First one we're going to start with Cask 113.51, Rustling Through Autumn Leaves. This is a juicy oak and vanilla Speyside whiskey, 13-year-old from a first fill ex-bourbon barrel, 62%, and will be available or is available. See, I already fell back there to the old ways. Like these will be available tomorrow. Nope, these are available right now. This one, $140.
This is a first impression. Very, very bright, fruity, classical.
Ooh, yeah.
Bourbon cask matured Speyside whiskey.
Boy, and citrus and vanilla
Ooh.
just jumping out of the glass.
Just like such a friendly aroma. It's bright, it's fruity, a little bit of wood spice.
Slight. Ooh, yeah.
I love the name too. Rustling through autumn leaves.
Oak and just spice in general, almost a little peppery. Yeah.
What's the ABV? Oh, 62%.
62%. Yeah.
I'm seeing the ticker scroll here. Oh, beautiful aroma. Nothing too out of the ordinary in terms of like, on paper, what we're seeing. And I'm reading this as it goes along because Scott sent me these little sample bottles. So normally on the full bottles, we have the specs. So I'm used to sitting here holding these. So I'm now watching this thing scroll around. But this is, 13-year-old first fill ex-bourbon barrel, fresh bourbon wood, Speyside whiskey. Kind of, just on the aroma as advertised, very, very classical presentation.
Yeah. And it's nice to start off with a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Cheers.
I'm going to jump in there. Yep. Cheers.
Mm. Very, very explosive on the palate.
Wow. Yes.
Ooh, 62%. Really, I mean,
wow.
Shockingly approachable. I'm going to add water for sure. Very, very soft. Some stone fruits, some peaches.
Mm-hmm.
When I say stone fruits, I think like peaches or apricots. Mm. A little raspberry. So it's like fruit. It's fruity, but it's not like, not just the classic orchard fruits, which are like apple, pears. Those are the classical notes you get on like a Speyside whiskey in a first fill bourbon barrel. Some stone fruits are there. Oh, I like it. I gotta grab my water thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call that? Water jug?
This one really, Ben says this is approachable. This one, I mean, it's not like hot, like it's burning ABV, but it's got a punch to it. And it hits you right up front though. And I'm kind of used to starting with like a 7, 8, 9-year-old in these. And the profile being a little bit lighter. This one grabs you right up front and really juicy oak and vanilla. But I like all the stone fruits that Ben mentioned. Citrus, vanilla, slight spice, light oak notes. Really a very nice juicy oak and vanilla profile here. Wow. And it's soaked in even on the back of my tongue and the sides of it.
This is Ooh, water really opens up.
I'm going in with a pretty healthy drop of water on that. Yeah, 62%.
Really opens it up. Now I get more of the orchard fruits. Some juicy red apple. A little bit of like a autumnal like spices, like I think of like clove, maybe a little cinnamon.
A little bit of like a Jolly Rancher kind of really tart, fruity nose with the water. I think with the water helping kind of tone down, bring that ABV down a little bit.
Amazing texture. Pretty oily. Funny how, adding water thins out the liquid in the glass, but like I can actually pick up the viscosity more. I think that's probably because neat. It's just so strong. The alcohol's attacking the palate. Really, really lovely. A bit like the finish. How do I describe it? It's almost like a velvet.
Wow.
Crushed velvet.
Yeah.
Like sensation. Just kind of weird, I guess.
Well, no, it's kind of like the skin or the rind on a peach. It's kind of velvety.
Oh,
yeah.
I like the way you think.
A little bit of an apricot though too.
Dude, we kind of rewind the clock and go back to these streams from like 2 years ago. Look at how what we've become. We've become the caricatures of what you would think two dudes drinking scotch on the internet would be. Well, especially you, because you've been doing this on your YouTube channel for so many years. Like you go back, I've seen your early reviews in your kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, smooth taste. Look at us now. You're like, oh, it's not velvet. It's the skin of a peach. You know, oh,
Right.
I stand corrected.
11 years now, Bart and I.
Yeah. You've come a long way. Got the same haircut.
Yeah. Looking a little older, but other than that.
A little bit. Not really. Anyway, I think to conclude this one, because we got 6 to get through, but I just think it's a lovely Speyside whiskey. It's pretty versatile. And what's the name? It's Rustling Leaves. I'm waiting for the thing to scroll down.
Yeah. Rustling through autumn leaves.
Well, rustling through autumn leaves. You know, when you think of autumn or fall, as we say in America, I think it may be usually some heavier whiskeys than this. Ooh. But I think because it's got some of that, like those baking spices sort of on the palate, it works for fall. But I think, you know, just my take on this, it's a bit more versatile than that. I would just get into this spring and summer, you know, warmer weather as well. It's kind of like a friendly outdoor whiskey.
You know, well, I love sherry whiskeys and I love peated whiskeys, and probably the majority of my nights I'm drinking, you know, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But every once in a while, I'm just like, no, I've got to go. I just need something ex-bourbon, you know, to get back to. This one, I put 2 rounds of water on and tried, and man, just really kind of opened up a little bit more of a dusty oak with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably the 13 years starting to show a little bit more, but bringing that ABV down, you know, pretty nice as well. So let's look at our tasting notes on the bottle here. Watching a red squirrel rustling through the leaves as we sat on a bench eating a gooey, centered meringue and crunchy white chocolate rocky road.
Honestly, that's exactly what I meant to say. You know, when I smelled that, I was like, squirrel. That's just a squirrel.
Squirrel and leaves.
I know that aroma.
Rocky road. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Solid. I would just say solid and classical Speyside whiskey. I added water, then I went back and added more water. I think that's the beauty of having something bottled at 62%. There's a big range of sort of tasting experiences to have at each level of dilution, which is fun. But yeah, I want to call this. I called this out earlier. It's nothing like that throws you for a loop. It's not overly adventurous. So, you know, does that make it good? Is that good or bad? No. I just want to give some context. I think that's what this is. It's a classical Speyside whiskey from a lesser known distillery that you don't see a lot of, which is cool.
Yeah. No, I'd say it's a very good whiskey. I mean, really a great cask influence on this one. 13 years ex-bourbon, and is a lovely whiskey. Water, I say this most of the time, water definitely helping this one. And I like this one with actually 2 rounds of water on it. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, it took it well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I need a little bit of a honeycomb showing now to turn more fruity even. So let's move on to number 2. Say hello to number 2.
What is number 2? I think
we'll do 36.218.
Penumbral Pleasure.
Yep. Penumbral Pleasure.
Ooh, spicy and dry.
Yep.
Oh, second fill Sauterne barrique.
Yep.
Double maturation. How much time? Okay, so this is it's double matured. So how much time? Let's look it up.
Yep, I got it here, ready to go.
I haven't seen a whiskey in our spicy and dry flavor profile with this amount of age behind it. Like, I don't want to say ever, but
yeah, a lot of our spicy and dries are really kind of sub 10 years old. So yeah, like 17-year-old.
Like really young. Oh.
This one was 14 years ex-bourbon. Or no, 13 years, sorry. So 13 years ex-bourbon and then 4 years in the second fill Sauterne.
Oh, this is amazing. This is... I mean, if you guys are... Obviously, you're sitting there watching this and you can see just the way I'm calling out the profile and the age. You know, Scott and I, obviously, we look at a whole list of whiskeys every day, you know, that are coming the months to come. So we see all the whiskeys in like a spreadsheet form, which is very unsexy. It's very unromantic, I should say. But like on paper, this stands out as something, a bit of an enigma. And I have no context for what this was going to taste like.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So the opposite of what we just had, which was kind of familiar and classical. This is not.
Because, you know, the second fill Sauternes, I don't expect a massive amount of Sauterne influence here. Let's see. You know, it should be less.
I'm sorry, I asked you how much time in the
13 and 4. 13
okay, so 4 years. Okay, 4 years.
And a little, like I said, a little bit of the color influence there coming through from the Sauterne. The nose, really kind of muted, almost a little dry. I mean, it's dry. I can get that. Peppery.
Very hard to discern. I don't think I would pick up that it was Sauterne just by nosing it.
Right.
You know, because we're blind. Very, everything, like you said it's muted. I think, everything's very subtle.
Almost a bitter chocolate or like an almond bark chocolate.
Oh, man, this is really good, though. A little bit of white grape juice. Duh, because it's Sauterne, but I just smell a Welch's white grape juice.
Okay. And power of suggestion kicking in there. I can see that. A little bit of sandalwood.
What a dumb tasting that was.
No,
I'm just kidding. I was just talking about how sophisticated we've become. I'm like, oh.
How about sandalwood? Almost like a Mizunara cask.
There's something a bit more exotic going on, and yeah, the sandalwood's a good shout. I don't think I would have. That's a power of suggestion pickup for me. Just such a beautiful nose. Like I'm struggling to articulate what it is. Very, very elegant, though.
Yeah. All right. Cheers.
59.6. Okay, great.
Ooh.
Oh. Hell yeah, there's a Sauterne.
Ooh. Yeah. More influence than I was expecting for sure. Ooh.
Hell yeah, dude. That is hell yeah. That's amazing.
Ooh. Nutty, chocolatey, rich. Oh,
yeah. And you get a little bit of the musk. It's like a very musky flavor profile. A little bit of like crumbled blue cheese. There's a cheese thing going on. It's very like moldy.
Okay. Yeah.
But I get that often with Sauterne or like just white wine casks in general. Oh, frankly, I'm gonna go straight into water because I feel like a whiskey like this needs it. The spicy and dry profile is kind of
it's a sleeper.
Well, I don't know that this would be. I would immediately categorize this and that, but it can go. I'm gonna go.
It's
with some water.
Yeah. I mean, it's peppery. I'm getting some peppery spice, especially, or almost like a chili powder, chili red flake. A little bit of a burn with it. Meaty, savory, almost like a classic Oloroso note, kind of meaty, dry, savory, nutty, not quite as not getting the dark fruits, but some of those, classic Oloroso kind of notes here, throwing it, I think, into that spicy and dry profile. All right, I'm just gonna get my first.
I'm gonna just I have a confession to make. Ben Rennis, this distillery here. Not usually a big fan. It's usually not my thing.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's never have been. I've tried it. It's not that I think it's bad, of course. It's just something hasn't stuck with me. This is the best one I've had.
This, yeah, I think we've had some really good Ben Rennis Distillery 36 this year.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying from what I've had, this is definitely the standout for me.
Yeah,
and I'm not, this is above all the rest, for sure, without a doubt. There's something usually I find like the we were talking about on the aroma was kind of muted, and that's usually the case for me. I find it's just very sort of thin, and the texture is kind of thin. Generally speaking, it's just not my cup of tea. And there are some members who like call up, they're like, I just want anything from Distillery 36. I'm like, all right. This one finally stands out to me because a lot of the ones that we have are like in the sherry casks. This one is this one is different.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, look at this new viewer, Jen Currence Brunow. Dude, that's such a coincidence. You know, I mean, hashtag must be good.
That's my wife. For those that are watching, we just got married September 7th.
Yes.
What's today? Oh, today's the 6th. Tomorrow, 2 months, 2-month anniversary.
What do you plan for the big 2-month anniversary?
Actually, we got a date night Saturday night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's where I'm at, matter of fact. So I am in the process of moving from Wichita to Tampa, which is where we will be located. It's where she's at. And I'm in my new studio. I just got set up, spent Monday, Tuesday getting this. I moved a bunch of my stuff down here and got her up and running.
How was that process of moving the whiskey?
Well, I just brought one carload.
Yeah. It's a pain, isn't it?
And some of my shelves broke down and brought, but yeah, 22 hour drive.
Oof.
2 days, 2 full days.
Oof.
Yeah. All right, back to the whiskey.
Hi, John. Thanks for tuning in. I know it wasn't for me, but it's glad to have you.
We were with Ben in New York. Not really our honeymoon. It was like it was like our first trip married.
Yeah. So. I was in Florida the other day. Which just south of where you're at, in Bonita Springs. Mm-hmm. That's where my parents are actually there. I was doing a golf trip with a buddy. It's just so beautiful down there. That's all I wanted to say. Like, it's like the weather right now is just so perfect.
Yeah.
I know it gets really hot in the summers, but it's just it's a different way of life, and I love going down there. Yeah.
You get a little bit of a sticky toffee pudding almost. Nutty, spicy, dry. I think this is a spicy and dry. I think it's a good profile. I just put my first round of water on it, and I put a pretty hefty drop on it. But yeah, and really for that second fill Sauternes, still a lot of influence here. Of course, it's a 17-year-old whiskey. 13 years ex-bourbon, 4 years in that Sauternes barrel, and just a great outcome here with it.
Yeah. I think it's, like I said, I think it's my favorite whiskey from the distillery. But I was also very open when I said that it's usually not my cup of tea, personally. And so I love being proven wrong. I'm obviously I'm a society member as well. I'm open-minded. I like to try everything. This one really stuck with me. I will admit, I'm envious that you have the bottle and I have this remainder.
I'll send you some more. I'll rate.
No. You don't have enough whiskey, Scott. You keep.
I know, right?
You need all of it. You need all of it. So. All right, that's that. Great whiskey. By the way, I want to say this. I think also last point on this whiskey. 17 years old, and you really pick up the age. I think in a blind, I probably would have guessed it was older, but the Outturn cask would kind of mess with your age.
Yeah.
But I like that. It's every bit of 17 years old and then some. So unmistakably a mature whiskey.
Tasting notes on the bottle: a mix of light and shade, juicy fruits, mandarin, rhubarb, lemon, and grapes, sticky sweetness, and a dry finish of oak, mustard, pepper, and mace. Bingo.
Taking a picture of this picture.
Picture of the picture.
What's next?
We are moving on to.
By the way, I just want to shout out to everybody in chat who's got a whiskey in their hand or in their glass, I should say. If so, what is it? Because here we are currently streaming live Wednesday night, evening after Election Day. A lot went down. Someone's got a whiskey here. Surely you're not watching this live stream empty-handed. So drop a comment. Love to hear what's in your glass post-Election Day. And what do we have next?
55.91. Moving on to another 17-year-old. This one in the spicy and sweet flavor profile, a Highland, named Salute the Boss. Double cask maturation on this one. Ex-bourbon hogsheads and first fill ex-bodega Oloroso butt. 56.8%. And will be available for, as I watch my ticker scrolling, $195. $195.
Quick response from everybody. Thomas Cusack says, cheers. He's got Cake Walk in the Black Forest. Which one is that? Do you know that one? I like that name.
That was a deep, rich, and dried fruits, if I remember.
Nice.
Yeah. I can't remember the distillery on that one, though. And I think I just talked to Thomas a couple weeks ago on the phone.
Nice. Cheers, Thomas. Whiskey RX says 18.61 Sand Dunes and Sunrise. I think this is available in our shop right now. I saw that because I just love that name. I think it's spicy and dry as well.
There's a color on this one, and this one, not really a lot of influence from the Oloroso. And I pulled up the details here. Let me see on this one. Okay, so same 13 years of age, 13 years ex-bourbon, 4 years in the Oloroso bodega butt. This was also, let's see, two hogsheads were combined and then put into this Oloroso butt. So two casks from Distillery 55 combined at 13 years of age from bourbon hogsheads and then put into the ex-bodega Oloroso butt. Little bit darker, I think, even than the Outturn one we just looked at.
I've just checked out from this stream because this is so nice.
Yeah. Wow. The nose on this one, definitely more darker fruits.
Yeah, this is beautiful, though. Really, really lush, deep aroma. Shit that comes out of my mouth when I do these things. Who am I? Very malty too, as well. Yeah, you get the Oloroso sherry. It's not. There's no sulfur, I think, for me whatsoever. Very, very soft, approachable. Nothing astringent or off-putting. Very, very clean, fruity aroma.
It's got that sherry dark fruit nose, but I'm just trying to see if I can discern any. Is it plums? Is it raisins? Oh, there was a little bit of a raisin right there. Just as I was saying, that raisin and fig, cinnamon, oak.
It's really good. Sorry, I kind of cut to the chase and tasted it while you were still talking, but wow. So, hell yeah. This one is my favorite of the night so far. I'm just going to say that right now. Very clean sherry, great texture, very oily. I like a thicker, kind of.
It is
because it makes for a longer finish. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What's the ABV? I'm waiting for it to scroll by. Wow.
56.8.
Okay. Very approachable. Of course,
Yep.
This is our third whiskey, though, too. So maybe a little warmed up. Beautiful aroma.
Oaky, spicy. I get the dark fruits. Almost a little bit more sweeter, or like almost like Luxardo cherry with a black forest cake fudge, almost chocolatey. Some walnuts, nuttiness. Wow.
I'm gonna just like name drop with these whiskeys tonight. But for the Brackla is generally like a very soft, for me, like we see the single cask, it's like a very soft, a lot of soft profile, a lot of stone fruits. I think that in the sherry works really, really well. I think it's generally the spirit. They have a single malt brand. They bottle their own single malts, but a lot of it goes into the Dewar's blend.
Right.
I think it's a great backbone for blending. Maybe it's not the backbone, but it's a great component for blending just because it's soft, approachable. Nothing's really too astringent, like I was saying earlier. So this is a whiskey that is designed fundamentally to be blended with others. So it's like not too offensive whatsoever, but it's rare, I think, to taste it in this like cask strength form. And I think the combination of a softer spirit that's so well-rounded with a full, powerful delivery at cask strength was epic. Like I haven't added water. I for the first time tonight, I haven't felt the need to dilute at all. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna. I always do. I just added pretty healthy. I call it a round of water. People ask, is it a drop of water? How much? How much are you adding? It depends to me on how much whiskey is in your glass, what the ABV of it is. I got a pretty healthy pour here, 56.8%. Yeah. It's gonna take more than a drop of water to do anything to this whiskey. So in actuality, I probably added 8 to 10 drops of water on that. So that's why I'll say the first round of water. But I think
so good.
I'm going to guess that it's going to open it up. Let's see, maybe even start to reveal some more of the sherry.
Yeah. This one is just, man, this is so good. Sorry, share your impression first, and then I don't want to interject.
I was going to say, actually, it's about the same as neat. So I am getting some blackberries though now, a little bit more berry, fruity type notes. Other than that, though, really similar to neat. So let me even add a little bit more water to it, and then you can say what you were going to. Wow. Woo. I was going to say peppery though too, peppery spice, this is in the spicy and sweet, category, flavor profile. So,
well, my comment was going to be, which I'll say now is, keeping with the theme of just being honest and transparent. Generally not a fan of Ben Rennes. That love that whiskey, the second one we had.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to say there's a least favorite flavor profile I have, would probably be spicy and sweet. Just like overall, I'm just thinking aloud here. This might be one of my favorite spicy and sweet whiskeys I have. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe everything just tastes good to me right now because election's over. Our division can begin healing, like our national division. I don't know. Everything's tasting really good right now. This is a hell of a whiskey. I know that the creation of this is a bit more complex than the typical single cask, but I love it, man. I love it. I really, really love it. Man, another 17-year-old too. Like we're also getting a little spoiled with age, like this early in the tasting. Because usually
this is a heavy hitter lineup on age, and this is the same 6 whiskeys that were presented at the in-person events. But we started with a 13-year-old, and then everything else is 17 or older. So, second round of water on this one. I mean, I'm really not getting too much more out of it than I wasn't getting neat. So I really don't know if it's doing too much here. Like your first impression, just loving this one neat, isn't too far off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had it in test water. It didn't really improve it
No,
considerably for me.
no. And I tell people, I think to me, 4 out of 5 times water changes a whiskey, but every once in a while you kind of get that outlier that water doesn't change. I think this is one of those. So, but a 17-year-old at 56.8%, great cask influence. The Oloroso, great influence here again. The ex bodega, but so my assumption with that is going to be possibly ex bodega are rare because those are the dedicated butts that spent their lifetime maturing Oloroso. In contrast to a seasoned Oloroso sherry cask.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a cask here that has had many years probably of absorbing Oloroso into it, and that's imparting itself into this whiskey. So, yeah, with you, I think I'd take that one. Water has made it a little bit more approachable, but neat, it was phenomenal.
That one's easy to love. Like, I mean, if you want to pour something good for a friend, you're like, yo, I'm a member of this quirky whiskey club. We spend a lot of money on whiskey. Try one. You know what I mean? Like that's my gig. Like this is a fail-proof one. Like anyone can love this one.
I will tell you, Brockla has the 16-year-old. Well, they've got a 12-year-old, a 16-year-old, and like a 20-year-old shelf offering. The 16-year-old used to be presented at 40%. I think they upped it to 45 or 46%.
Yeah.
But the old one at 40% was probably the best 40% whiskey I'd ever had. We had it a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it was just a gorgeous, delicious whiskey. Slider sherry influence, on those off the shelf offerings. So
yeah.
Let's look at tasting notes on this one. Hazelnuts, pine trees, and cherries merge with treacle and black tea. Single malt, originally from ex-bourbon hogsheads, married in this cask.
Good show. Another classical whiskey, like the first one. Classic Speyside and sherry, but I don't mean to reduce its qualities just to like its origin and cask type. It's a unique whiskey because there's nothing that's been just like that before, but there's something familiar about it.
Yeah. So also heavy in age with this Outturn preview, also heavy in Oloroso. We're going to another 17-year-old Oloroso.
Is this the
48.164?
I just poured this. This is a sherry bomb.
Things that make you go,
That's the name of it?
Yep.
Let me see that. Hold that up to it. Oh, like bop. Yeah, okay. Got it. It really is.
Yum, yum, yum. 17-year-old.
By the way, I just want to call this out. That name was definitely assigned. Like, you can't tell me that was the first whiskey that person named that day, because that was after a few whiskeys. I know the process. I did the process a few times. Like,
right.
That's not a first whiskey name. That's like and I've named a few things that make you go, If you're whoever did that, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I just call it as I see it.
Double cask maturation here again. I think we've got the same thing with the it's almost the same thing here. 13 years. We combined two hogsheads, two ex-bourbon hogsheads from Distillery 48 into a first fill sherry butt. And in the description, we put a top quality first fill sherry butt. So in case you were wondering, it's top quality. 54.2% ABV. This will be available for $180. And I can see, Ben, when you had yours, the color here is what I like to see on my sherry.
Yeah, you do.
We're getting darker. We're getting a little bit more.
But this is like the one before it. Okay, so definitely we've increased the sherry cask influence. The Oloroso notes are classic. A bit of almond, some clove. There was clove in another one, but I'm calling that's there. A bit herbaceous, some pine needles.
Yeah, I don't have too much left, but just to show you that first one, or the one prior, 13 years ex-bourbon, 4 years in first fill Oloroso. And then here's the one we're looking at now, the 48, 13 years ex-bourbon, 4 years Oloroso. So a lot more Oloroso influence here, even though we were getting quite a bit on the palate with the last one, the 55. Oh, wow. More nutty, almost more peppery, even though on the nose too.
Oh, that's so good. Just like a proper old school whiskey right there. Also, no sulfuric notes at all. It's a very clean, darker sherry. The pine needles are really sort of attacking the palate for me, but really like rich milk chocolate, not dark chocolate, just straight up milk chocolate.
Wow.
Like from duty free milk chocolate. we're going there. Oh, so good. So nuttiness. There's the nuttiness.
Yep.
There's a little bit of the malt. It is not exclusively sherry cask matured, and you can kind of detect that. The sherry cask is absolutely the dominant influence on the palate. And this is all just from one taste. I'm going to go back.
Yeah. Raspberries really jumping out at me on this one up front. I mean, it's spicy, a little bit of it's peppery. The sherry notes are in there, the dark fruits. There's some raspberry though that's still showing almost a little bit sweeter berry type notes. I like the chocolatey notes as well with this one. Gorgeous.
I gotta. As you're talking,
neat on this one. I love this neat. Now I'm going to add some water. I really don't want to, but this one, kind of a toasted honeycomb as well on this one. There's a lot going on the palate on this one. The spiciness, the nuttiness, the oaks, the fruits, the berries, marzipan. Almost, I'm moving more into dark chocolate than I am milk chocolate. It's semi-sweet, chocolatey, little bitter, but gorgeous. This is a great Oloroso influence on this one. Let me add a drop of water. Or a round of water.
Whereas posting this to Instagram. you know whiskey's good, but I'm like, come watch us share our opinions of this.
First round of water on here. Wow. That's still that first one. Neat though. This is still soaking. Great finish on that one. Neat. I mean, it's still on my palate, still soaking in. I can feel it just penetrating on the side of my tongue and the back of it. Aldea is watching. He says, I've been all over Scotland and have tasted hundreds of distilleries. Only I must say some of the bottles I have gotten from the SMWS have been some of the best, unique tastings I've ever had. I have no problem telling people, I talk to members on the phone all the time, SMWS, I have no problem telling people some of our whiskeys will be the best you'll ever have in your life.
Yeah, it's all about finding the one that's really right for your palate.
Yep.
And it's addicting almost, because not every whiskey's good, but the trick is finding the one that's right for your palate. And then once you do, it's a bit of a catch-22 because everything's limited. You'll never get it again.
Yep.
But you'll taste it and you'll say, wow, this is like made for me, almost like a bespoke whiskey. Of course, it's not. We're out there looking for unique things, but it definitely spoils you. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, no, to me, that's the beauty of it now. It's because you have that whiskey, and that's the one that you remember. You like 5 years, 10 years down the road, and you're talking with your buddies, and you're like, man, do you remember that? That one Kalila or that one Brunow, that one Monachmore, whatever it is. It's like, man, that was a glorious whiskey. So,
should we roll the next one? Do we wait? Any thoughts?
Let me add a little bit more second round of water here just to see. That one neat. I didn't want to add water on that one because it was so good, neat. And the first round of water didn't really change my mind on that one. Great, just still great finish. Age is really showing on the last 2 or 3 whiskeys. Actually, since even the 13-year-old had nice age showing on it. Nice cask influence.
Yeah.
More of the, really with water, I think a little bit more of the Oloroso is showing, just the deep, rich, dark fruits, the plums, but even more berries and raspberries and things like that. Let's look at tasting notes on the bottle. 48.164, dense, fat, sweetly fruity and earthy. A whole heap of darkly sherried goodness and sticky fun. 2 hogs married in this sherry butt. So, yep. Wow. And we'll move on to number 5. Say hello to number 5. We're moving into a lightly peated.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you like 17 years of age, because that's where we're at. And I hope you like Oloroso stuff.
Wow, what? This is another 17-year-old?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. This is number 4 in a row?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No. Nope.
I mean, whatever. I mean,
and the last one was older.
Right,
the last one's even older. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. Smoke Devil marries a delicate sweet thing. 122.64. Lightly peated Highland. 17 years old again. Double maturation. Ex-bourbon hogshead and a second fill ex-Oloroso hogshead. 54.4% will be available for $195.
Oh, so Croftingea is a name given to a unique set of stills. It's a peated malt from Loch Lomond, and they have a few different peated malts. Like Loch Lomond has all these different stills, and this is one set producing the peated malts, usually for blends, but once in a while they'll do a single malt, I think.
So let's just look at statistics on this one. And this one was 14 years ex-bourbon, 3 years in the second fill Oloroso. So we got a 17-year-old Highland peated whiskey here. It's in our lightly peated category. That secondary maturation, 3 years in a second fill ex-Oloroso hogshead. So I expect, just going off of the statistics of looking at this one, 54.4%. That light peat, very and probably some maybe a little bit of that second fill Oloroso influence coming through on that peated malt character. Probably hence the name, a smoke devil marries a delicate sweet thing. So let's see.
An alternative name for this one could be: there's a Band-Aid on fire, your house is on fire, my hair is on fire, everything's on fire. The world is on fire, and I'm hungry. I don't know why I think. I mean, This is why I don't name. This is why they don't want me naming whiskeys anymore. But very industrial. Like there's the rubber band.
Yeah, medicinal smoke
rubber.
was the first when you said
Yeah.
Band-Aid. Yeah, when I first nosed it, I was like, okay, there's a medicinal hospital-ish, peat on this one.
Hospital-ish.
Which so usually you're talking Isla though when you're getting that medicinal peaty note, but Highland here. I didn't show the color. A little bit darker here than what. If this was just ex-bourbon cask, it would be quite a bit lighter, but still not too much influence from that second fill Oloroso. But very nice nose. This is one I think you could nose, just sit down and spend 30 minutes to an hour and just smell it.
Well, it's lightly peated, but it's not like gentle in any way. I think it's a really astringent aroma. I've actually just tasted it too. Really, really bold. Nothing subtle about this one. You know what I mean? It's a mouthful. Very explosive.
Wow. Woo.
A little bit of iodine. And like I said, rubber bands. Like eating a rubber band. When you're a kid, you would put a rubber band in your mouth. Or rubber band ball. That's on fire.
There is a kind of a smoked meat, almost more of like a smoked fish. Smoked white fish, kind of like a cod, something like that on the grill or on a barbecue grill on a beach. And you're grilling some pineapple and some cod. Nutty. Yeah, but then that kind of not industrial, but more of that medicinal type peat note here with it. That is a palate full.
Yeah.
Wow. And what was our ABV? 54.4. It feels hotter than 50. I thought we were approaching 60.
It's just the character. I think it's very intense. It's not one that really draws you into the glass. It's just everything is protruding outward, exploding in your face. Get your head out of your ass. I mean, come on. Just, you know what I mean? Like it's just, you don't stop while I'm ahead. It's very, very loud. Everything's loud. It's like the last few have been like an acoustic guitar on stage. This is like heavy distortion, electric guitar, 80s hair bands, shredding. This is a shredder's.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm good for usually like one a night.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. This was 17 years, great influence here. I really do think though there's more influence here from that ex-bourbon than there is from the second fill Oloroso. I think we're getting slight notes that are kind of coming through with that. There's not of Oloroso in your face here.
I don't pick up. I hardly pick it up at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything, it's sort of softened or rounded out the edges a little bit. Without the Oloroso, this would be even wilder and louder. I think.
True.
It's added like a warm blanket around a very sort of cold, industrial whiskey. I have to say that the first four, I would say, oh, this is classical, or like three of the four were very classical and soft and gentle and easy to love. This one's a bit of more of a gamble, I would say. I think if you're looking for something different, if you like peat smoke, this is something for you. I think you have to like peat to like this, but it's not a lot of peat. It's a lot of like the iodine and the rubber bands in conjunction with a little bit of peat. It's
in our lightly peated category. This is borderline peated, I think, moving up a notch for us. If you're thinking Highland Park lightly peated, no, I think it's more than that. But
this is a slap in the face. Like this is It's a loud whiskey.
Citrusy, honeyed. There's some toasted, fruity notes in there. But that, like I say, I think the second fill Oloroso on this one, 3 years in it. Very light influence here. And I think it's just kind of doing just a little bit of taking that ex-bourbon peated whiskey and just kind of wrapping it in that warm blanket and just throwing in some nicely subdued Oloroso notes, kind of adding just a little bit more character to it than if it had just been ex-bourbon. Wow. Tasty notes on the bottle. Are you ready for those?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, I put on I'm finding I've got to wear my eyeglasses more and more. Candy floss, custard tarts, and chocolate honeycomb bars, bonfire embers, tarry driftwood, and old Spanish galleons. The smoke more evident on the nose.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about this one.
Wow.
I think based on what we've described, how we've described it, everybody in chat will either love it or hate it. I'm just ready for this last one. I looked it up when,
Yeah, the last one. As mentioned a few times, we had some 17-year-old. This one is a black label. From Bowmore, distillery number 3, 3.353. Please accept our apologies. I think it means please accept our apologies that this one is so darn good. Because 20-year-old Isla in our peated category. Blah, blah, blah. Wait and
is that peated or lightly peated?
No, it's peated.
Oh.
Yep.
Not very common for an old Bowmore. They're all usually lightly peated.
Double maturation here, ex-bourbon hogshead, and second fill ex-Oloroso hogshead, 58% ABV. Now, keep in mind, and I reiterate this at my in-person tastings, in 2024, the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, we set out on kind of a cask exploration for the year in which we basically doubled our sherry cask influenced whiskeys. We went from generally being a 33% of our whiskeys that were released had some sort of a sherry influence on them. 2024, we saw that increase to 66%. So 2/3 of our whiskeys come out have a sherry cask influence on them. Again, tonight's been no exception. We've had a Sauternes, we had a ex-bourbon cask, we had a Sauternes, and 4 Oloroso sherry casks.
It's funny. It's a peated flavor profile. Very, very faint aroma of peat smoke. The sherry's there. It's like it's very earthy. But man, the peat is so muted. Or is it just me?
Well, 20 years, you're going to see that peat level come down.
I know, but I'm just surprised it's not lightly peated.
Right. I hear you.
The 20 years in wood plus the fact that you have the sherry, like those two factors alone definitely will mask the presence of the peat smoke. But there's the classic Bowmore aroma, that sort of candy appled note with a light sea breeze.
I get leather. Yeah, I mean peat. There's some peat. There's some dark fruits. There's some leather. This one, I think, definitely coming off on the nose as a little bit older whiskey. Ben's having a moment. I'm just going to let him have that uninterrupted.
Oh, dude, no, sorry. I'm just you're part of this too. I don't need any solo time here. I just
salted nuts here, warm salted nuts. Yeah, I've tasted.
Oh, damn, dude!
Now I'm going to go in on the palate.
It's almost a perfect whiskey. Yeah. We've had some. Oh, damn, that's really good. I think that's the best one of the night for sure. I didn't want it to be because, like, on paper, it's,
Yeah.
it's the favorite. Everyone loves an underdog. This is not the underdog. But I will say this. This is not to sound like a total whiskey salesman here, but $325 for this whiskey is a steal.
Yeah.
For a 20-year-old Bowmore, like, with some sherry, like, that's crazy. That's crazy. By the way, we're really working on our pricing. I'm just going to tell this to everybody now. You'll see some more improvements. I think this is a product of we're really working hard, like, with supply chain things, all the boring, like, behind the scenes stuff to really, like, manage costs as best as we can. We're always trying to do that, but, like, we're really excited about some things we're doing. You'll see an announcement in a couple months about that when it relates to whiskey pricing and just anyway. It's all good news, but, like, this is an example here. $325 for a 20-year-old cask strength Bowmore. Like, I feel like that's amazing, and that's what I like to see personally.
Yeah, we're seeing more sherry influence here from this second fill ex Oloroso, I think, than we were. What did we have before? Even the one before, 122.64, Smoked Devil Mary's a delicate sweet thing. It was a 17-year-old, and then 3 years in a second fill Oloroso. This one, though, the sherry is showing. I would almost think this might be a first fill, Oloroso. A lot more sherry influence. It's dark. It's fruity. It's sweet. It's a little bit tropical. It's peaty. This is a great, just as Ben was saying, this is the whiskey of the night. And of course, I mean, we tend to work our way up to the heavier profiles, the older whiskeys. No exception here. Wow.
I mean, is it your whiskey of the night as well, you think?
I think so.
Because I'm going back now. I mean, okay, so, well, let's finish this one. Then I wanted to share some honest thoughts about the whole. Like,
I would put it up against the Diedrich that we had, the 48.164, things that make you go, But no, this one, I love peat. I love sherry. When you combine them, it's the best of both worlds. And when it's done well, when it's done good, when it's done exquisitely, which is the case here, this is a phenomenal whiskey. And like you said, yeah, $325. Go find a 20-year-old whiskey at cask strength, sherry influence, peated from Isla at that price range. Good luck on the shelf.
What's the date of distillation on the bottle?
16th of February, 2004.
Yeah.
That's almost my birthday. My birthday's February 9th. Yeah, and we had a comment. Let's see. A.B. Scott says that the SMWS has routinely been putting out some great higher age Bowmores. They've all been good. Yeah, we've had a lot of 17, 18-year-old. Really, I think, and most of them have probably been with ex-bourbon cask. Very few or a handful have been sherry matured. This, like Ben was saying with the Ben Redis, with the 36 earlier, that was his favorite. This could be my favorite Bowmore that we've released.
My favorite Bowmore we ever released was called it's a 28-year-old.
Oh wow! Well, okay, 20. Come on, 28.
Don't come on me. Come on. I mean,
come on.
Wait a minute. The sense of perfection. The sense of perfection. Which was finished. It was called The Sense of Perfection.
Wow.
And it was like 2018 or 2019, 2018 or 2019. Anyway, we had it actually in Indianapolis that one time because somebody brought a bottle of it. Tom R, I think. Tom R, who's frequent search chat, I think he brought it, if my memory serves correctly. But this reminds me of that because the peat is subtle. The sherry cask mixed with a peat in this one gives a very earthy profile. And man, it's just perfect for me. So I think this is a standout whiskey, like without a doubt.
Yeah.
But the Sauterne one that we had was a lot of fun. That was different. I think that deserves some consideration. The Brackla, the 55.91, like I just really like that. Like as a really like an all around whiskey, versatile all year long. You know what I mean? Like that was solid. The 48.164, the Balmenic, the sherry cask, that was a sherry bomb, and it was pretty well balanced. Like, but it was obviously sherry bomb. You know what I mean? So like, with such a heavy sherry influence, so much of the flavor comes from the wine itself. And I'm not saying it's a bad whiskey. I'm just saying like it's not the most unique. I'm putting myself in the shoe. I'm giving everybody a look into like how my mind works. Like when I actually buy whiskey myself, like, you have a home whiskey collection, you want to add to it. These are some considerations I make. I look for things that will stand out and serve a place in my whiskey collection and not be redundant, So if you're looking for, but that's just me. If you're looking for a great sherry whiskey, that 48.164, like I would recommend that all day long, I would just spend what is this, $325? Is that what this is?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that's like crazy value. I know we're not, actually, I'm not going to say we're not supposed to talk about that because there's no rules of what we talk about, but like, I would do that. I would just buy this one bottle, I think, as opposed to like two of any others. You're laughing, but this is, by the way, this is not supposed to be like a buyer's guide. Well, actually, it kind of is in a way. It's what we make of it, and I'm just saying, like that's what I would do.
I think, and Thomas had asked, what's it like with water? I just added it. I think it got a little bit more salty, a little bit more briny, but then also a little bit more fruity as well. Some tropical fruits, so it got a little bit sweeter. Not by much, but just a little bit. You're able to pick it up. But wow, yeah, I mean, this one's a phenomenal whiskey. Let me just throw a few more drops on there. I didn't even want to. This one is really good, neat. And, 58% at 20 years old is a pretty high ABV. So what do you think about the name? Please accept our apologies. What do you think that means? I said, I think it means please accept our apologies. This one is so damn good.
Well, I think if you taste it, you can't walk away from it. You have to buy it. I mean, I'm really jealous of you of the bottle right now. I'm gonna buy that myself personally. I'm gonna buy that tonight. And which I certainly don't need another bottle of whiskey, but like here we are. I want this in my collection for sure. I would definitely be pouring this for people who come hang out. 3.343.
I like this one neat, man. I like it with water. I like it with 2 rounds of water. This one's
What's
good.
3.342?
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
I have 3.324, which is the same distillery date. I was going through my archive here.
3.342 is not available anymore. Oh, it was Beach Foam. That one was just ex-bourbon, I want to say.
That was
that one was just second fill ex-bourbon. 18-year-old. Now this one, that's what we've had some older Bowmores, 3s, and I think the majority have been ex-bourbon. This one, second fill, Oloroso, has really upped the bar on this one. This one is phenomenal, and this is probably the best Bowmore that I've had from us.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, it might be the best Bowmore that I've had.
All right.
I mean, and we've had some good ones. This one, I mean, like I say, though, at 20 years old, maybe we've seen them creeping up, though, because we've gone 17, 18. Maybe there's been some 19s in there, and now this 20. But again, so the black label, majority of our whiskeys will have, the white label here. This is our standard label. This was the first one we did tonight. You see the white monogram, the white label. A handful of our whiskeys will get elevated to this black label with the gold monogram. Those, our tasting panel are saying, hey, these are a notch above. These are really good whiskeys. And then even going from that handful of whiskeys that get the black label, a handful of those get the Vaults Collection, designation. So this one, definitely worth it. 20-year-old single cask Bowmore, that second fill ex Oloroso secondary maturation. This one at $325 steel. This is a great buy, great whiskey. So, yeah. I'm going to enjoy finishing this one off tonight.
I'm sitting here. I'm pulling up the Discord combo to see what I missed from today. Some other opinions. Some people said they love the 122 more than the 3. Interesting. Kim said that.
That said what?
They love the 122, the Crofton Gale, more than the Bowmore.
I don't know. No, I'm just going to say no on that one.
No.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, but I think that's definitely acquired taste, and I think the people commenting about it and saying they liked it. Obviously, like a lot of us here have tasted a lot. So I threw out that little warning.
I guess if you look at the price though too, the Croftingia was a 17-year-old at $195.
Yeah,
but and it was second fill ex Oloroso as all as well. This one though, I think the Oloroso is showing more on this one. It's really kind of sneaking in there. It's giving me those darker fruits, kind of that darker side of this whiskey.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I was going to look. I do not have the slide with all of the whiskeys that were released. There were.
Well, it's okay because it's in the shop right now. You guys can go check it out.
Yep. The link is down below. Let me just scroll real quick here. Let me look and see. There is tomorrow or today. See, I'm used to this being tomorrow. Today available also was 18.63. Cask number 18.63. A 15-year-old from a first fill hogshead in the spicy and sweet category for $160. And we had wait a minute. November, I'm showing the 64.149, a cakewalk in the Black Forest, Monochromore, 17-year-old for $195. That's what somebody said they were drinking.
Yeah, right. That's what Thomas said, and he said it was available as well.
That just became available today on my list with this Outturn.
All right.
Huh.
What do you know? He's Thomas is a mysterious guy.
I guess so.
All right, let's wrap this up.
That's the only 2 whiskeys available that we didn't taste tonight.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed our ramblings.
There were some ramblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. So, closing remarks?
Go to SMWSA for more information on how to become a member or how to buy our whiskeys. You do have to be a member to purchase our whiskeys, a member of the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. So there's more information there, smwsa.com. And great whiskey, great outturn. I love my job. Hey.
Me too.
As we say on the back of every Whiskey Society bottling, it's right there. It says, not for swigging, glugging, or knocking back. Please drink responsibly. Cheers.
Cheers.
Everybody have a whiskey.
Mm.